My name is Joshua Craver, and I've had the honor the past 2 years to be the graduate student of both Dr. Kimberly Williams and Dr. Chad Miller. Now, after spending these last couple of years teaching alongside Dr. Williams, I sincerely hope that one day I can possess the same skill and passion for teaching that she's demonstrated. Roughly a year ago, on a plane to a floriculture conference, I expressed the idea to incorporate a more hands-on experience into a greenhouse operation course taught every fall semester. Over the following weeks, this idea soon became a reality, as Dr. Williams suggested that we apply for a mini-grant through the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, or SOTL. So what started out as a simple idea led me to a whole new understanding of what it truly means to be an educator and the far-reaching benefits that can come through the pursuit of SOTL. I'm so thankful to have learned alongside such an amazing academic and teacher, and I'm grateful for the mini-grant program through the College of Agriculture that makes projects like this not only a possibility, but a priority. And so with that, I would like to introduce Dr. Kimberly Williams.
I was born to teach. In fact, I was born to teach about plants. By the age of 3, I was enamored with the peonies in our neighbor's backyard. And by 8 years, I was coercing my younger brothers to play school with me through bossiness and bribery. In grad school, I started to see that this teaching thing was much more difficult than it had seemed. And like most teaching faculty, I didn't exactly learn a lot about teaching during my grad school journey. Fast forward to the beginning of my career at K-State. Like everyone here tonight, I really cared about whether my students were learning and learning deeply in my classes. But how could I figure out how to determine what was working and what wasn't in the classroom and to accomplish that goal? Well, a colleague at the University of Nebraska and I decided to pursue funding for a grant to co-develop and teach a distance course in plant nutrition and nutrient management. And the RFA required that we disseminate the results. So we looked at each other and shrugged and said, I guess we'll assess some aspect of student learning and then just publish the results. And little did I know that I had stumbled into SOTL, or the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. As this process unfolded, it became clear then that this was how I could answer the question about how to decide or figure out what was working and what wasn't in my classrooms. And more than that, I came to see that evaluating some aspects of my teaching was exactly parallel to doing research with plants that I had been trained to do. You start with visiting the literature and you end with making the results public. Later, I learned that this is called the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, elegantly defined as the systematic study of teaching and learning made public. So I stand before you tonight to make an argument on behalf of SOTL, because it brings scholarly excellence to teaching and it integrates the function of teaching and research across an academic career. SOTL allows us as individual teachers in our classroom to gain formative information that allows us to improve the student learning and to understand what's working and what's not. But it also contributes to summative assessment, where we can figure out whether or not, for promotion and tenure decisions, for example, whether or not faculty can move forward along those lines. So we have both summative and formative means of getting information through SOTL. But you know the best part? The Scholarship of Teaching and Learning makes us better teachers. And inevitably, that's going to result in better student learning. For example, SOTL begins with scholarly teaching, and that begins with visiting the literature. So when I needed to figure out how I could incorporate critical thinking skills into a greenhouse management lab exercise of recovering a high tunnel, what I really needed was Kolb's experiential learning model to provide that framework of understanding to help me accomplish that goal. And what about the intrinsic benefits of SOTL? Like when you spend 100 hours developing a really cool case study, but ultimately it seems like an awful lot of work for the only handful of your students who are going to get to use it like every other year when the course is offered. But then you publish it, and suddenly you start getting emails from colleagues you've never met in Texas and Canada and New Zealand telling you that they're using it with their students. And those 100 hours diminish in terms of the amount of work, and you're grateful that the work can be used by so many others. In addition, SOTL goes hand in hand with program assessment and course assessment. So practitioners can often kill two birds with one stone. Take, for example, our experience in the Department of Horticulture, Forestry, and Recreation Resources, where with colleagues we were interested in understanding whether or not our efforts to infuse multicultural competencies into our curriculum were moving our horticulture students towards that end goal. After 4 years of collecting data and crunching the numbers, we found that no, what we were doing wasn't making a hill of beans worth of difference with our students in meeting that goal. And so we threw it out. Thank goodness we did that assessment. Wouldn't it have been tragic if we had spent the rest of our careers until we all retired just doing the same old tired things? But knowing that it didn't work allowed us to move forward and find something that would. And that's what the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning does for us. Thank goodness I'm a faculty member at Kansas State University, a research institution that truly values the student experience. And in its College of Agriculture, a college that values the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning so much that it is an expectation of faculty whose appointments predominate in teaching that they will conduct it for purposes of promotion and tenure. A college with administrative leadership that puts its money where its mouth is and supports SOTL through mini grants and awards programs. You've met Josh Craver, grad student and teaching assistant in horticulture. He had an idea, a question really. What are students really learning in that hydroponics module that we conduct in our greenhouse management course? So we put together a SOTL mini grant through the College of Ag and then set out to answer that question. And what we learned was much more informative than we ever could have gleaned from any teaching evaluation. And in fact, now Josh has been exposed to the power of SOTL. He's going to be presenting his SOTL project research results alongside his disciplinary research results this summer at a national horticulture meeting to share with everyone else, our colleagues in horticulture, what he's learned. So imagine the power of SOTL to transform teaching and learning at our research institution because it is valued alongside our disciplinary research. Imagine the power of the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning to strengthen the work that we do with our undergraduates, resulting in deeper learning and helping prepare them for careers that we've been a huge part of helping them develop for. Imagine the power of the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning to be a regular routine part of equipping our graduate students who see themselves teaching in the future so that ultimately they, both undergraduate and graduate students from K-State, are going to be living the lives that they were born to live. Thank you.